this is just a little bit of educational content for people um, who want to know if this is true or not. So there are quite a few amount of people that would say that you create your own reality, and and that therefore you have some sort of absolute control. And this philosophy was actually popularized by people like Leo Gura, whom has a very big YouTube channel and does philosophy-based content. Um, he has a lot of good stuff, but this is something that he's just off about. Uh, Now it's his business, so he sells these ideas. So it would make sense that he wants to present the ideas that are well liked or that sound good. And one of these ideas is that you can become God, or have states wherein you become God, or that this is somehow the real reality, and that you create everything, and that if you look at your hand, or that you create everything, and it's just complete arrogance. It is a little bit true, though. There is some truth to it. Now you may think, well, how do you know? Well, this is something that I spent 10 years of my life on, after having had certain psychedelic experiences when I was a teenager, that I wanted to know what that was about. And what is enlightenment, and can it stay, and such. And I found that not really. I still enjoyed meditation a lot, and deep meditation a lot. But aside from that, I don't know if it's possible to be all the time enlightened, because even after so much work in that field, I'm still quite a normal person. Though I do have less fear or depression, I think overall, especially compared to a lot of people, even though there are also a lot of people who don't have meditation experience, whom are also quite happy people. So it's not like you need it. And inside deep meditation, if the mind goes quiet, which it's not always that easy, especially if the living conditions aren't very suitable for it, then there also isn't depression or fear. There's just peace. So that is very nice, and it is something that I would recommend everyone to at least at night, when you have time to sort of do some sort of spiritual meditative practice, like a mantra or something, because it is very pleasurable, and it does resolve mental issues. I would say that that's simply true. Doesn't mean that other things can't work, but so I spent 10 years of my life on that stuff, and after about maybe 6 years, when I was camping in Sweden, and I was just very focused on it, and I had more time to just really be alone, and I would stay conscious during deep sleep. And this persisted somewhat after, but when I had to move back to Holland and such, this got a little bit harder, because meditation in a crowded place is a little bit more difficult. Oops. But it would still work. So I would say I'm a bit of an authority on this subject that many people simply aren't. So when people hear, "Oh, you create your own realities," go, "Oh yeah, makes sense," because there are a lot of blind leading the blind, right? And even someone as Leo Guru has a lot of experience, still says these things. Even though I told him on his forum also, no, that's not how it is. So I know, because when I was staying aware during deep sleep and having maybe the deepest kind of samadhi, or a very deep kind of meditative experience, you completely, it's like deep sleep. You completely go out, but it's a little bit deeper than that, I would say. Even it's very deep. It's very mystical, and you just experience the peace of that. you don't need to experience going, like, let's say, all the way down into pure consciousness. Even just being sort of half in it can be very pleasurable and very peaceful. You don't need to have a complete samadhi all the time. But anyways, I would be conscious during that state, and then what I would see happening was that out of that space, a dream would appear, and I practiced lucid dreaming also before that, and I would have some sort of dream experience. And in the dream, I didn't have total. You don't have total control, and then maybe another dream comes, and then at some point you wake up again in your life. So it's pretty mind blowing, but also kind of normal, right? So yeah, this is what I would see happen, and I'm also an experienced lucid dreamer. Even in lucid dreams, you don't have absolute control. But more importantly, I would say, is that from that nothingness, this dream appears. And within that deepest meditation, there's no identity. You're nothing. You are just nothing, is how I would explain it. And it's great. It feels peaceful. It's profound. There's some sense of awareness, but nothing like being a person or something like that. It's also not being like an angel or something like that. Just nothing. So you'd be nothing, and then literally you would wake up. But first you would wake up, like, usually in a dream, and then that's not something that you choose. That's just how life is. And in that nothingness, you really have no free will. That it's just like remove everything, and that's what you have there. Even though that every imagination of it really doesn't capture it. It's very peaceful. There's nothing there. So there's definitely no free will to do anything at all. Now then life appears. Now that's like a miracle. But there's no one that does it. It just appears. Now within the dream that may appear, we feel again like then we are again a separate person or whatever, and we make choices. That's how it feels. Intelligence arises, and of course you definitely don't control the whole dream. So there are a lot of things we don't control, just like you don't control where you in what position you wake up in the morning, if it rains or not. These are all things you don't control. So life appears, and life appears. And then you feel like you have some free will. And I would say, okay, maybe there is free will. I think there is. I don't know if we're absolutely certain, about what, it doesn't matter either what I think, but I do think there's some free will. But this creation of life, you don't do. And just like as a baby is becoming born or something, is it choosing who the doctor is? It's just a totally mad idea if you think about it. So it's just not true. You don't create your own reality. A lot of it we don't control. A baby doesn't control how the doctor's hair is. It all exists within consciousness. That's true. And then people may ask, well, is there a God then, if that's the deepest level? And well, I would say that we are life, and life is like godly or something like that. But I do believe that there can be, that there is in people that, and all beings, there can be higher intelligence and love and grace, maybe angels or whatever. I do think that these things are possible, and maybe even some sort of godly higher power. Yeah, I do think it's possible. In any case, the power of love is very real. So if people pray for someone else, that can work. If people, if a child falls, if someone is not loved during their life, it leads to more problems. So the power of love is always real. There's no denying that. And yeah, there is a kind of, I would say, deeper love too, because in the fabric of the universe, if you close your eyes and you meditate and you kind of let go, or it does tend to heal. Like meditation tends to heal the soul or the mind, and even maybe possibly the body sometimes. But it does tend to do that, and during meditation you do feel like there is a sort of universal peace, maybe sometimes you feel love. Now these are even sort of universal loving quality to life. I would say that that is true. Um, so yeah, I do kind of believe that there is a God. It's hard to say. I certainly believe in these sort of life rules and Christian wisdom and spirituality wisdom, Eastern philosophy wisdom and prayer. Prayer is like opening your heart or meditating or asking life or the universe. I do believe in these kinds of things. Um, so yeah, these are my kind of views on that. But you don't create everything, and you can never create everything. That's if you have an utmost little bit of honesty about yourself and intelligence, you should be able to recognize this. If you don't, I guess that the sort of spiritual propaganda that people have shared over the years all the time that you like to listen to and believe in is stronger than common sense in this case. But yeah, you don't create everything. There's a lot we don't control. We do feel like we have some control. I think that's valid, but that's about it. So yeah, you don't create everything. So reality is also not totally subjective. It's just not the way it is. If a baby is born and it thinks that it's maybe a girl or a boy, it doesn't really matter. And also, it's not true. So there is a reality that we have to deal with. And trying to think it differently isn't going to make a damn bit of difference most of the time. Because thoughts are just like little mental ideas that may influence reality, but they're not that powerful. It's just the way it is. I mean, sorry if you don't like it. But